This program is brought to you by ADP, one of the world's leading providers of human capital management services.
Was hit by a roadside bomb in Baghdad, Iraq.
We came around a corner and drove straight into an ambush. RPGs came through the front of my vehicle, went right through my shoulder.
I fell over 35 feet. That ended my career. I had a choice to make that day. I was either going to succumb and let that accident determine the course of the rest of my life, or I was going to overcome.
I basically woke up, learned that I had lost my right arm, and really thought at that point my career was over. I had an opportunity to watch one warrior who had just been given his prosthetic legs and was literally trying to take his first steps with his legs. And I remember, seeing his family and his kids. They were cheering him on, "Go, Daddy, go!" And you could just tell by the look on his face that what he was trying to do wasn't easy, but it was, he was determined. And I think, for me, that was really a turning point in my recovery.
Sometimes you have some real tough things that are in your memory. You have to learn to live with that. You've got to start fitting back into society. And that's why I think it's so important to get involved with some organizations, because that gives you an opportunity to make friends with a new group of people, just like it was when you reported to a new unit. You had to learn to fit in that new unit. You had to get acquainted with the people you worked with. And you have to go through that same process to fit back in society.
Make sure you go through the TAPS program or the retirement program that the services offer. Get those things worked out so that when you do transition, all your VA requirements are all done well before you get started. Every person that starts a business thinks you're going to have a lot of time to do a lot of different things. You just simply don't. There's never enough time in the day to get everything done, but to try to stop building your business and go over and try to get all your VA stuff worked out is a little bit tougher to do.
If you're asking, does the military breed entrepreneurs, the answer is no. You have to have that drive. A lot of the military tasks are very difficult. The up-tempo that our guys and gals go through is very difficult, but the plan's laid out for them. And so they generally, follow a plan. On this side, you have to build your plan. You have to follow your dreams. You have to be disciplined just as you are as a soldier.
You need to think about what you've done when you were in the military, what you learned, the skills you picked up.
I am a former Army logistics officer. I've always been in logistics and event planning, and I decided to start my own business. So I went from planning road marches and rifle ranges to planning fun outreach events and seminars.
Most small business owners typically have about 10 years of private sector experience before they start their own business. Now, veterans have already spent 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 years in the military. So I think for veterans, that's perhaps a little different. Maybe it's a little quicker. Some vets come out with a very specific skill that they know they want to deliver and provide in the private sector when they get out.
Starting my business was really about two things. It was about moving on with my life and regaining my sense of purpose. And it was also about continuing to serve. It was about the idea that, I wanted to leverage, the skills that I had and also look for other folks, warriors, other military people, veterans who, may be able to join the company and really share in that vision and mission.
The number one thing is jump. Think about what your situation is. If you're relatively young and coming out of the service and no family and no kids, less risk, right? Because I did it when I had quite the opposite. 1 kid, pregnant wife, and mortgages.
There's never going to be a perfect right time where the stars align and you have tons of money and there's a perfect need for your business. You have to just go for it. And ideally, you have all the money you need to get started, and then you have 6 months extra beyond that in the bank to cover the first 6 months operating expenses. And it wasn't the case for me. I started my company with a loan from a Navy buddy of mine.
These returning veterans, they got to count on the seasoned vets like myself to tap onto the resources, and don't be afraid to ask an older guy, "Hey Ed, hey Chief, can you help me?" Absolutely, we will help you. But if you don't ask, we can't help.
Find out what resources are out there that's available. The resources are there, you just have to find out which ones are going to help you start the type of business that you want to start.
Go talk to your local SBA district office or your local small business development center or a SCORE volunteer or one of the many Veterans Business Outreach Centers around the country. There's tons of help. Veterans have a tendency not to ask for that help. They're very independent. If you seek the help that's there, it's there to help guide you. It won't do the work for you, but it will help guide you. And if you do that well, it will accelerate many of the things you need to learn about how bureaucracies work, what is available, what's the job market really look like, should I buy a franchise? I'm thinking about financing, I may need to buy a home on the GI Bill, how does that work? It'll save you a lot of time, a lot of heartache, a lot of headache, and hopefully minimize the mistakes you make, because you're going to make mistakes.
The Department of Veteran Affairs has a website where they have a wealth of information on those websites to help the veteran who is looking to become a business owner know what steps to take initially, to get to this point.
For more information about how ADP gives back to our communities, please visit adp.com.